Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Miami Book Hub. I'm your host, J. Adrian Betancourt, author by night, urban planner by day, explorer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So welcome back. This is now, I believe, episode 6, if I'm not mistaken. And today's going to be a fun one. We're meeting a really cool author and publisher who I've recently gotten to know through the South Florida Writers Association. Her name is Jasmine Nguyen-Sandoval. Jasmine, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so you're one of the first people I met at the SFWA because,
Yes.
I went through the website and,
Yes.
of course, the webmaster
Yes.
of the South Florida
This
Writers
girl.
Association immediately responded. So
Mhm.
great customer service.
Thank you.
And from there, we started writing each other and getting
Yep.
to know each other. And
Yeah.
I came to realize that not only are you this amazing webmaster,
Yeah.
but you're an author in your own right.
Correct.
And even a publisher.
Yes.
And an event organizer. You have a
Right.
big event coming up that
Yeah.
we'll talk about. But
Lots of hats.
before we get into that, tell us about yourself.
So I am as you were saying, a registered nurse by day and a writer by night. And it's just a hobby that I really enjoy doing and jumped in feet first into this. And now I'm here hosting events and publishing books. And it's just been a wild ride, all too fast, too short, but it's been fun.
And now appearing as a podcast guest.
Yes, exactly.
Taking the world by storm.
Exactly.
So it's what I find interesting about you, well, many interesting things, including the multiple hats you wear, but you're really tying what you do as a profession in the medical field to your writing.
That's correct.
And it's
Yes.
thrilling because there are people who are really interested in both of those things, right?
Yes.
They love thrillers. My wife, for example, is somebody who loves anything dealing with medicine and hospitals and the drama there.
Yeah.
And you marry those two things. So tell us
do.
about that approach.
I do. So it really is. I've always been like a journal writer, and I enjoy writing things down. And there's so much that happens at the bedside as a registered nurse that I encounter, and I just need a place to debrief, and respecting HIPAA and patient health identity and everything, I write down my feelings. At the end of the day, it's difficult to speak to other people about what's going on unless it's your own colleagues at work. But we all want to go to our own home, our own spaces, and not have to think about that. So I confide in my journal and I write. And there are just some stories that never leaves the back of my memory. And I'm constantly thinking, this is something that people need to hear about. There's so much that happens behind the four sterile walls of a hospital that needs to be said, that needs to be shared. And there's a reason why medical drama on TV, like Grey's Anatomy and The Pit currently, all these different TV shows are successful because we as people and viewers and people who would like to watch and be entertained are very fascinated with this world that happens behind closed doors that you're just not familiar with, just like any profession, really.
Listen, life and death situations, a lot of drama, a lot of conflict.
Exactly. Things are not just smooth sailing. People are not always you don't always save the day. There are good days. There are bad days. There are patients who are cured and everything goes as they hope and dream and prayed for. And then there are other situations where patients just never will be able to go home again. So.
Well, first of all, thank you for everything you do.
Of course.
As a nurse, because I'll tell you, my kids who are here for Bring Your Kids to Work Day. So hi, Kayla. Hi, Charlie, out in the back. I'm sorry, am I allowed to break the fourth wall here? Yeah, we're cool.
Of course. It's your show.
So they were micro preemies. They were born at 23 weeks, 4 months early.
Okay.
1 pound,
yes.
4 ounces.
Yes, I love micro preemies.
Yeah, and they spent 4 months in the NICU. So we became family with the nurses there.
Yes.
And it's really the nurses were their surrogate moms. So we have a very deep appreciation for the nursing profession.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you don't know this, but I'm a NICU nurse by trade. That's my core nursing. I've done a lot of pediatrics. I've done addiction medicine. I'm currently in oncology, but NICU is my place. That's where I started. That's where I grew as a nurse, and that's where I keep going back to. I still pick up per diem every now and then. So that's my
you pick
my
the hard ones,
special place.
NICU and oncology.
Yes.
So these are the tough assignments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Not that any assignments in the medical profession are easy, but some are more difficult than others, right? More taxing.
And all different specialties have their own little niche thing that they do so well. And, I can't jump into a medical surgical unit and expect to juggle 6 to 7 patients at a time as I
Yeah.
could in the NICU, where I would have 2, maybe 3 on a really like short staff kind of day. So everybody has their own unique skill set, and I will never sit here and say I can do exactly what that nurse does
Yeah.
versus that nurse in the ED or that nurse in trauma or that nurse in the OR. They're so different in skill set and training.
But bless you and all nurses
Thank
worldwide,
you.
honestly. It's not easy. But 23 weeks, that's pretty impressive, right?
That is very
Yeah, I'll let you
impressive.
dissect them afterwards to see how
That's
they're doing
very
15 years later. They're doing pretty good.
they're doing great. They look fantastic. So
All right, so back to the writing stuff. Let's see. So let's start with the South Florida Writers Association.
Okay.
So how long have you been a member there?
I've been a member a little over a year, I want to say. I think I'm on a year and a half now with
Okay.
South
And what's
Florida
been your
Writers.
experience with them?
I joined. I've heard about them for years now. I have another colleague in Toastmasters that I was a part of. That she is a board member and has been with them for many years. I've seen her post things here and there. I thought, oh, let me just kind of put that in my back pocket and think about that at another time. I've always wanted to write. Don't know what I'm writing. Thought maybe a memoir was the way to go, but then I'm like, who am I to write a memoir? And I think a lot of us have this imposter syndrome that we just don't think we're important enough to write
Yeah.
that type of story. So it just kind of sat there. Never thought much of it until one day, I don't even know what clicked. And I thought, you know what? I looked onto the website and I saw that they had critique groups. And so I reached out to my friend who was in Toastmasters as well as South Florida Writers Association and asked her, tell me more. And she was like, oh, why don't you just go have a seat, like sit in on a critique group and see what it's all about. So I sat in on the fiction critique group that meets down the road from here. Once a month. And then just the feedback that the person who was running the critique group is Dawn Daniels. And just the feedback that Dawn was giving everybody at the group was just like phenomenal. Being able to say, no, like word it this way and like do more of this. Like you did an excellent job here. So do more of this writing
It's
here.
constructive criticism.
Very
right?
constructive.
So I have a thin skin. It terrifies me to be critiqued.
Yes.
But that's how you grow.
That's exactly how you grow. And so just being able to hear them kind of bounce ideas, and everybody wrote such different genres in fiction. Don writes war history. He's a huge war buff. And then we have another one who's writing kind of a psychological thriller. And then we have another one who's writing fantasy. And it's just like, I'm going to learn a lot. So, for $75, I signed up and I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep coming. And then I started going to the actual meetings themselves, which happens once a month as well. And then I realized, there's a lot to learn from these people here in this group. And then everybody was just so inviting and so
they really are so welcoming.
Yes.
All of you.
Yes.
And supportive. I mean, that's the whole point of it, right? Writers supporting writers is the way Amy
Exactly.
Naeem put it the other day.
Yes. Writer supporting writer, because it's such a silent and quiet community that you feel isolated if you choose to isolate yourself.
Sure.
It's kind of like me being a nurse leader or just a leader in general. You start feeling like you're very isolated because you can't fraternize with the staff. It's so, and the same thing about the writing community. So I was yearning for just that community and that family that understands exactly what I'm going through and the creative behind it and being able to just bounce ideas off of. It's different.
Absolutely. As a new member, I'm really excited about having joined and all the resources that I now get to tap into and just the people I'm meeting.
Yeah.
Really, everyone's been lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great feedback for us.
Yeah, at some point I will have every member of SFWA on this podcast.
Yeah.
So you're the second. So you got all that support and all those tips. And you started writing. And so you've written books, you're writing a book, you're launching a book this weekend. So where do you want to start? Let's start with where you started.
Okay.
What was the first thing that you either wrote or published?
Okay, so the first thing that I wrote is actually not on this table.
Okay.
It is still sitting in completely drafted, or no, I'm sorry, completely polished manuscript mode right now, waiting on some literary agent out there to to pick me up and say, I like your work, I like what you write, and let's do this together and find that partnership with the literary agent. I actually have two in that situation right now. They're both medical thrillers.
Wow.
They're both based in a fictitious hospital that's located in Miami Beach. But the city, of course, obviously is very real, and the people are also fictitious, and the patients and the stories are fictitious, but 100% all based on true events.
Wow.
So I have taken stories that I've experienced myself as a nurse, or I've heard as a nurse, and others around me and my peers have experienced, and I've taken them and I've mashed them up into a book with plot driven story, backstory, and everything else. So the first one is Bound in Silence, and the second one is Out of Reach. And both of them targets very different messages. The first one is around it's a little bit more triggering because of the fact that it's such a taboo topic. It's about sexual assault and harassment, and not necessarily in the workplace, but it's outside of it. So the story, the main character has this history behind her that follows her, and so I feel like that's been very difficult for me to query, just because of the fact that it is a very sensitive topic, and so I have to find the right person in order to challenge to take that with me on the road. And then the second one is Out of Reach, which has paranormal elements, and it follows a husband and wife, dual POV, and both are nurses. One works in the L&D and one works as a burn ICU nurse, but he has a very traumatic past as a soldier, and so we tap into his previous life and a couple of flashbacks and how that impacts him as a nurse working in the civilian world, and the way he thinks and the way he kind of like goes on with life. And so there's paranormal elements attached to that, and it's just a really, I think, cool story. And so those are two books that I've written.
Sound fascinating.
Sitting in,
and I love the titles.
Thank you.
And it's not a series, right? These are two completely different cast of characters, or
so they're completely different cast of characters. Yes, but they all fall under the same Miami Beach medical series. Okay. And so it falls under that because they're all working out of the same environment. Yeah. However, they each have their own story. So you can pick up book 1 or book 2 or book 3, which I have right here.
No doubt.
and then you can read them out of order completely and still be able to and you'll have some cameos of other characters from the other books showing up too.
I love that.
So yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
All right. So those are in the works.
Yes.
And just waiting for the right person to come along.
Correct.
Who's watching this podcast. Yes. And is going to say, I want to be that agent. In the meantime, I know you've pulled together an anthology, which is going to be launched this weekend. So tell us about that work and the event.
Okay, so Tales from the Bedside is the anthology that I'm working on right now. Or actually, I'm sorry, not working on. It's completely drafted. It's ready to go. It's printed. And we are having a book launch event that's happening on Saturday at Rocketeer Beer in South Miami area. Well, maybe farther south.
Let's be clear in case this, gets re-aired later on Saturday. What's the date?
The Saturday, April 25th at Rocketeer Beer.
2026.
Over by the Falls, 2026. And so we are having the event, and it's tied in with Ink and Impact, which I am working with my friends at Chapters and Coast Mobile Bookstore, and bringing together the literary community there's going to be 20 local-ish authors that's going to be there, showing their books, displaying their books, talking to different readers and bookish people in the community. So just really finding an opportunity for a small scale, not Miami Book Fair, not BookCon that just happened in New York City, more intimate setting, and just for us to really support the indie authors that are out there right now. So, and here in our own community, there's so many of us that are, writing amazing things, and we just don't have the platform. So that's my goal, is to create that platform for people to be able to, come together and meet people.
Yeah. And so the event is that platform, but so is the publishing company behind it, which is yours as well, right? So tell us about that business end of things here.
Code Blue Publishing was birthed from just the idea that I had for the Writer's RX. So as I'm writing my medical thrillers, I realized that as a nurse, I would be totally embarrassed if all I wrote all day long was, she had butterflies in her stomach, right? So as a nurse, I'm like, you know what? I am going to tap into my knowledge with anatomy and physiology and really take this to the next level and play with it within my writing, so that I have more visceral writing, so that I am conveying the emotions and I am immersing the readers like I should. So the Writer's RX was just like a side project that happened out of just note taking. So as I'm writing note taking, I'm thinking, okay, so he just found out, or his patient just died. What happens next? He's not just sad. He's not just having a brief moment in the bathroom by himself. Like, what are the real emotions that's going on, from the head to the throat to the stomach to everything that's going on? How am I going to convey that in story form, in writing, so that I can have the readers really immerse themselves within the pages. So that's where the Writer's RX come from. There's up to 800 tips and tricks and just fragments that you
Great.
can use within your own writing and just plug it in where it
That's
fits.
for any writer. It doesn't have to be
Yes,
someone writing medical thrillers, right?
exactly, exactly, because romance has a lot of visceral
Sure.
feelings going on. Fantasy has a lot of fight scenes that may have things going on. If you're writing like a mystery suspense police proceeding, lawyers, everything can always benefit from having additional interiority with the characters. And that's the most important thing, is being able to really fully immerse your readers. If I feel like when I, as a reader, read a book that I feel like very committed to the characters, if I feel a very strong way for or against, there's a reason why Disney gets it right with the villains, right? We feel so vehemently, passionately despising them, and it's because they work that out really well with making sure that you understand the just the emotions that are happening with the villains as well as the people they're
And
targeting.
give it some depth. Is it wrong that I always root for the villains? Is that am I that weird guy?
No, not
Just
at
kidding.
all, not at all.
Maybe one or two that I do empathize with.
Right.
That's great, and I'm definitely going to need to read that because I'm still honing my craft. I mean, I've never taken a creative writing course.
Yeah.
I was not an English major, so
Right. Same.
I'm learning all of this, and it's great to have resources at your disposal,
Yes.
especially from people you trust who write well.
Thank you. Yes. And I was such a consumer when I first started writing, never taking a creative writing course or anything. I purchased every single book there is out there when it comes to like how to write better, how to write more emotions, how to do this, how to do that. I have one that's what is it? Naughty words for nice people, to write like the romance scenes within some of my books. And so I'm very much a consumer, but there was nothing like this. And I was like, I need to just get this out there. I think this is an incredible resource that I think other people will benefit from. And that's why that was birthed. And so, and that was the kickstart to my Code Blue publishing when I realized, it's very difficult. I've been in the query trenches for almost a year now.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. And if it's this difficult to get traditional publishing, maybe there needs to be other avenues. And so what are the other avenues? And Code Blue Publishing was kind of the idea, like, let's see what I can do and let's scratch the surface to see how far I can go with this. And anthology was a great way to meet more writers, to meet more talent out there, and to like hone in on editing skills and being able to find good stories. And that made me a stronger writer.
That's brilliant. And so not only are you publishing yourself, but you're publishing others.
Exactly.
I mean, starting with the anthology, right?
Yes.
And so how do you, logistically do that? So you don't just stamp your, imprint on the book.
Right.
You're presumably producing it. What do you do? Like, tell me what the steps are, what tools you use as part of that publishing journey.
It's a lot. So
that you're willing to share if they're trade secrets.
Right. Trade secrets. Oh my gosh. So we don't gatekeep in this community. At least I haven't found people who
That's
gatekeep,
great.
which is fantastic. You can Google anything and you will find YouTube channels and TikToks and Instagram reels based on people, how they've published their own books in self-publishing indie down that road, and then what resources they've used. You can even sit there and look up the different types of editing tools to see what people like, the pros versus the cons. People are out there really just like putting us all on display. You just have to know how to search it and what to look for. And so I like to use different tools in the sense of, so I like to use Scrivener to just kind of keep myself organized. And it's a really great platform. When I first started writing, I used just Microsoft Word and Google Docs between the two of them. And then what happens is when you get about 80,000 words counts in, it starts getting very discombobulated and you don't know where is anything, and you're doing Control F for everything. And it's hard to find where the place is that you're trying to just go back to edit that specific scene or that specific chapter.
Right.
And so in Scrivener, I'm able to break it down by folders. And so my type A personality comes out and I'm just like, yay, there's something out there for people like me. And so I have it very well organized from my parts to my chapters to the different scenes. And so it's easier for me to go back in later on and edit as I'm going. For example, in the book that I'm working on right now, which is a dystopian fantasy book, I ended up, because they are deities from the cosmic heavens, I realized that they need to have some sort of language that's very similar. So I was like, well, we're not going to say, oh my God. So we need to find some type of language that's more universal to them in this world that I've created. So heavens became the word that they use. So I had to go back and insert heavens where there's dialogue and where it fits. And so it just made it a little bit easier because I was able to, between the two worlds, I had earth and cosmic heaven. I was able to go back to each of the cosmic heaven sections and write in heavens into the dialogue where it fit the most. And so
this book sounds fascinating too, by the way.
It's good.
You're in very different places, which is great.
So
It's
good.
brilliant.
So Earth is dystopian era, and we are way into the future in the year 4829. And then the cosmic heavens is where all the deities and all of our mythological beings are now housed because they're just like people on Earth are just not getting it right. So they're up there.
They gave up on us.
And then there's an intertwine where they come together and they crash and collide, and there's aliens. It's fun.
I love it.
It's fun. My brain went crazy. It's taking me a while to write because sometimes I'm just like, I'm out of creative juice for the day. I cannot write anymore. And then there's other times where I'm like, I'm driving or I'm doing whatever, random nonsense. I'm cooking or whatever. And then suddenly it just comes to me and I have to stop. And like, I actually record myself talking because I can't type it as fast as I can say it. So I record myself and then put it into a folder so I can come back to it
I love
later.
those moments of inspiration.
Yes.
Where either, it's your subconscious or the universe talking to you and you're just
Yes.
like, I got to get it down. This has happened to me at 3 or 4 in the
Yeah.
morning several times. So,
Yes, yes. You have no idea how many times my families have come down and they're just like, who? Oh, okay. And then they look over and they see the screen of me on selfie mode in recording mode. Yeah.
Yeah, people don't always appreciate it. Those around you, but
No. But
bear with us.
When it translates
Bear
to the
with us.
pages, it's magical.
It is. I love it. We're gonna have to share notes because I'm writing a 9 volume series.
Oh wow.
Focused on my first one, obviously,
Ooh.
but in my mind,
Yeah.
3-part 9-volume series, and we're kind of in current times for my first 3 books. But then I go back into ancient times, ancient civilizations. There's ancient aliens.
Okay.
And then my last 3 books are going to be set in the future, and it's very much about different dimensions and things. So I think, you and I are thinking along the same lines. Only it's going to take me 9 books to do it.
Okay.
And you're managing to do it in 1. That's brilliant.
One, I hope for it to be a duology. I know what the premise will be for the second book. I just don't know like what's going to drive that character and everything. So, but it's going to be Celestine Court duology, and
Love it.
Betrayal of the Stars is the first one.
Okay, well, I'm definitely buying. And by the way, leave me the Writer's RX.
I will.
And I'll pay for it, but I definitely want to read that one. And it seems very manageable. It's not too long.
Right.
Which is
it's
good.
not long at all.
Yeah, I don't have that much
Short
time
and
for
sweet.
big books.
Short and sweet. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of reading in there. Most of it is just cheat sheets and tips and tricks on what you can do.
Awesome. So if people want to purchase your books, where should they go?
So the Writer's RX is on the writersrx.com, or you can just go onto Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and you'll be able to find it there.
Do you have a preference? Is any one of them
no
better for you than
preference.
others? Okay.
If you go to the writersrx.com, I'm the single person show that's shipping it out. You'll get an autograph with it. The books also have like raised printing on it, so it's different. It's not just printed like on demand by Amazon or Barnes & Noble. So you'll get the nicer cover copy with the autograph on it if it's coming directly from the writersrx.com.
Very cool. How do you actually publish the books? Through your publishing company? Like who produces them?
So I'm the one doing the formatting. That's another tool that I recently...
The actual printing, I guess, was my...
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can print on demand. So these ones, because of the time frame and the constraints that I had with trying to get it in time for the book launch that's happening on Saturday, I printed these on demand on Amazon. Okay. My preference, though, is to go through an actual printing company and printing larger masses of them. The first one I went through 48hourbooks.com, and they were able to print that not in 48 hours, but turnaround was about 2 weeks. It was too risky for me at that point. By the time I had all of my authors come back and approve their edits and everything, it was just too risky of a short time period for me. So that was, but my preference would be to go through one of those larger companies. 48 Hours has been great to me with the first experience, and so I would totally use them again.
Yeah, they just need to change their name to 2 weeks. It's like you go to the dollar store now and everything is $1.50.
Right. So it was 48 hours for them to like approve the proof. And then after that, it was like, for them to print, cut, and all that package. I was like, are you sure it's going to take that long? They're like, yes, but they do give you very exact timelines. And so, and they met every single one. And, the only thing that they have no control over is getting it to the shipping company. And once the shipping company takes over, obviously that could delay with weather or whatever may be happening. So.
And who does all of your cover design?
So the cover design comes from a company actually I use out of the Ukraine. They do not use AI. I give them an inspo. For example, for this book with Tales from the Bedside, I gave them what I created on Canva and I said, make this for me, so that I have all the rights to the cover. And then they recreated it for me. This one, same thing. I said I wanted it to be more like thriller looking. I want it to be kind of apocalyptic looking, just to make it fun and really catch the vibe of that, and that's what they did. So it's a company called Get Covers. It's
Get
very
covers.
inexpensive, and it works for a person like me. And maybe one day I'll be able to hire myself commission an artist to do
Yeah.
something. That's the dream for my fantasy book. But for now, I'm looking for inexpensive places where it's still unique, it's still one of a kind,
Yeah,
and
listen, I'll tell you, for
work.
inexpensive, I think they look great.
Yeah, thank
Very,
you,
very
thank you,
professionally done. You
thank
said they're
you.
not AI, so these
They're
are
not
actual,
AI,
which is
correct.
good.
They use what is it? Copyright released items and
Mhm.
pictures, and then they mash them together. And then the this company actually gives you the Photoshop file. And once upon a time in college, I did take Photoshop classes, so I'm familiar with the program. I also have a daughter who's in digital marketing as
Oh,
well, and
great.
so she has an account that I just jump on and use. And so I use her account, and then I go in and, like, for example, the letters on the spine were a little narrow and small. And so I was like, let me make it bigger, because they were super conservative with trying to make sure that it falls within the
Sure.
lines. And I'm like, no, 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 we're going to go. We're going to go full shebang. So I made things a little different. I lightened the blue a little bit because it was kind of dark at first.
Yeah.
So I still come in and do post edits still, because I'm just, neurotic like
You are a
that.
multiple talented person. I don't think I said
Yeah.
that correctly. You have multiple talents. We'll
Thank
say it that
you.
way.
I try.
That's great. And this book is also available for sale, or it will be as of
Yes.
Saturday?
As of Saturday, it releases, and it'll be available on Amazon as well as Barnes and Nobles.
Okay. But pre-sales, I would
And
imagine,
then
are already up. Or?
pre-sales are already up for the ebook. Amazon and Barnes and Nobles will not allow the pre-sales of print covers for some reason, and so
Really?
there's that restriction. Yeah, which is crazy. I'm still navigating. I see that other authors, big authors with big
Yeah.
imprints, have pre-sales all the time.
I
So
thought they actually required it like 60
yeah,
days out. That's
yeah.
what I had read. So, okay. I still have to discover all these
Right,
things.
right. So maybe they have their own printing company, and
Hmm.
that's why they're able to get pre-sales out to these indie bookstores and stuff. So I'm curious about that. But right now, ebook is on pre-sale, and then Saturday, so we have just a few hours left to go. It's going to be available. So
Have you gotten into audio at all yet?
I have not.
Yeah.
I have not, but I have several voice actors that I am
Cool.
following on TikTok and on Instagram, because I love their voices. I think I found book 2, Out of Reach, my male main character. His name is Dominic, and I think I found his voice. Just, and it's just crazy. Like, I probably can't afford this guy, but I found his voice that I was like, that's the perfect voice I need for my male character. I have yet to find my girl's voice. There's just
You
some
have a
voice
lovely voice.
actors.
You could just do it yourself.
No,
No, it's an
no,
art
I
form.
I would be so stressed, and like re-recording and re-recording and
No.
um
And like anything else, you want the person who's
right,
trained at it, right?
right,
It is an art form,
exactly.
just like writing is a craft, right? So yeah,
Exactly. I go homemade as much as I can, but when it comes to that, I think because you can hear when in an audiobook, you can hear everything. I can hear when they take their breath. I can hear when they, like, unscrew their water cap, like, just because I'm sitting on the train and the bus all day, commuting to work. And so,
you're also trained as a nurse to pick up on every little
yes,
detail, right? Because
yes.
it could mean something.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah.
then of course I have, like, I'm the one where my Apple Watch tells me that my volume's just way too high, because I have it, like, on as high as I can to hear every little thing. So it's a curse in disguise.
Did you want to do any readings while we have a couple minutes? Or?
Sure. So one of the stories that I wrote, so I wrote several stories for this book, some of them under my government name and some of them under my pen name. And the reason for that is because some stories are based on real life and are fiction or nonfiction. And then the other ones are fictional based on true events. So
Okay,
I'd like to share The
please.
Verb, which is what I wrote. And it's kind of a contemporary poem, short story, so to speak. So,
Bring it on.
okay. So I refreshed my phone's browser again, rereading the words on the website. Maybe the organization hadn't updated the page in months, maybe years. But each time my eyes scanned it and something new surfaced, a phrase I'd miss, a detail I hadn't understood before, another clue about the unapologetic mutant now living inside me.
Hmm.
Despite the endless research and late night web surfing, one sentence played on loop, rent free in my head. You have cancer. The provider's phone call was informal, abrupt. To learn more about what we just discussed, visit cancer.org. But everything before that sentence dissolved into mush, and everything after it turned into gibberish. One 6-letter word flips my world inside out and upside down. Cancer, an ER word, a noun that behaved like a verb. A doer, the doer invading my mind, my body, and my soul. The doer genetically rewriting my healthy cells. The doer forcing abnormal cells to multiply on my cervix. The doer who had tried to break me, dragging me into my darkest days. Fear struck first. Will I survive this? Grief followed. My children were merely 3 and 5. In the darkness, I buried myself alive. But verbs only rule a sentence until something stronger takes the subject. And in the end, it wasn't cancer, it was defiance.
Wow. Okay, I'm really insecure about my own writing now because that was beautifully written.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
Thank
so you too can
you.
write like that if you buy the Writer's RX and absorb its lessons.
Yes.
Wow. That's powerful.
Thank you.
I mean, cancer is obviously one of those things that everyone can identify with, right? Either you've had it or you know someone who has. And
Yes.
it's one of those common denominators that unfortunately people have to deal with and get through. So well done.
Thank you.
Well done. So you've written how many of those yourself in there?
I wrote a total of, I want to say 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
I lost count.
And then there's another 50 or so?
There's 63 total.
63 total.
63 stories from around the world.
That's great.
So when I put
and are
out
these
the
writers
call,
or are these practitioners or both?
No, a little bit of both.
Okay.
A few of them are practitioners, which was pretty amazing to hear them share their stories. And in fact, I asked each of them if they would use their practitioner credentials as well in order to just really give that emphasis and impact on how
Sure.
practitioners are also going through the same thing that patients are and caregivers are going through. So it's such a lonely world when you're a patient.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like everything is against you, not necessarily the people who are helping you, but just like the idea of just feeling alone and isolated in this diagnosis, and then the diagnosis becomes you. Caregivers have a totally different perspective. They stop everything selflessly to help the patient and their loved ones get through this journey, whatever it may be, however long it may be. And so I shared a story in here called When the Sun Sets about, and this is the nonfiction me, my other alias, my me government name. I share the story about myself as a nurse who has a mom who's now been diagnosed with early onset dementia, and just the pivot that I had to take now as a caregiver, not realizing no matter how much training I have as a nurse, how that just does not come into play when I'm a caregiver and a daughter of somebody who's now been diagnosed. And so there's just so many different stories. So I have the sections broken down into the patients, the caregivers, and the clinicians.
Okay.
So we have different perspectives throughout this book, and it's just been amazing with so much. I received, I think, 115 different stories and poems, and I selected 63.
That's incredible.
63, 13 of which are from South Florida Writers Association.
Oh, excellent.
So we have some really amazing talent within our group here.
Writers supporting writers.
Yes.
Well, Jasmine, that's all the time we have here.
Thank you.
Was there any last minute things you wanted to throw in? I think we got to your websites, right? Repeat those for people.
So it's thewritersrx.com and then codebluepublishing.com.
And South Florida Writers Association?
Yes, South Florida Writers Association.org.
Is it southfloridawriters.org? I don't think association. I could be wrong.
Google it.
Google it. South Florida Writers Association.
Yes.
Follow them. They're on all social media platforms.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, that's great.
Definitely.
Listen, thank you, first of all, for what you do as a nurse, honestly. You doing God's work. Thank you for being on the program. Thank you for all you're doing to help support South Florida's writing community, both at Ink and Impact, through your publishing company, and through SFWA. And that's it. Just it's been great to know you, and I want to be there on Saturday.
Yes, fantastic.
And you should be there as well, folks. Again, this Saturday, April
25th.
25th
from 12 to 6, you can come out. But at 2 o'clock, we're going to do the book launch for Tales from the Bedside, where we're going to do some member readings.
She'll sign that for you.
And at 4 o'clock, we're doing open mic. So bring your stuff out and let's.
An open bar throughout, right?
Yeah. My friends at Rocketeer Beer would be very upset if I said yes to that, but they do have incredible smash burgers. So please support our friends. Excellent. So thank you so much for creating this platform for us.
No, it's been a pleasure, really. I'm truly enjoying this. I hope you're enjoying it too. I do want to thank Miami's Community Newspapers for co-producing this program in these lovely studios filled with books, as they should be. And I want to thank you for tuning in. Please like the show. Please share it with friends and family. Please subscribe to our channel. And please continue to tune in. So that's all the time we have. In the meantime, keep writing, keep reading, and stay curious, man.